Now then, welcome back to Bosh. We've got some delicious food for you, and we're going to be starting with my dad's take on a Spanish paella.
Oh, it's a goodie. It's a real goodie. And if you were going to make that, you're going to need dessert. The dessert we're going to offer you is Victoria sponge.
So we've gone from Spain to Britain, and next we're going to go to Texas for a barbecue pizza. Everything's vegan, and that's even a healthy 50-50 whole grain pizza dough.
Some solid recipes, and let's get straight into it with paella.
Paella. So this is a Spanish dish. This is our take on the Spanish classic paella, or paella, if you're from England. And we've tried to be as, traditional as we could with this recipe. He was taught, right? So my dad, I'll tell you the backstory here.
Go ahead.
My dad took us to Spain often, many times. We had like Spanish friends, we learned Spanish. I can speak a little bit of Spanish. And they taught him, like the Spanish friends, taught him how to make paella properly. Yeah. So obviously you can see we're using some saffron here, making like a saffron salt, which is a cool little trick. And that saffron's going to give the yellow color to the rice. But this is like as close as damn it to a Valencian paella recipe. But of course it's got no fish in it, or chicken.
Yeah, it's got no fish, it's got no chicken. But you know what? When you work with vegetables properly and you sort of give it the time that they deserve, you're left with some things that are just way better.
Exactly, and it's easier to cook as well, because you don't have to you would normally have this with like prawns and stuff and you have to cook them first, but no, we're going to cook it all in one pan. We've got our paella pan, we're going to cook it all in there, and it's actually going to be quite an easy cook as far as paellas are concerned.
I actually went to the park the other day, and it was not far just after lockdown.
Oh yeah?
And there was a guy who was walking with a huge pan. I was like, what's that then? And yeah, he was on, I'm bringing my own dinner, I'm going to bring paella.
What a legend. I love that. Did he have like the paella burner as well? So you get a burner that's the same size as the pan?
I didn't see it at the burner, but what I did see, it was like he was holding it just by his side, like a mother with a baby on her hip, and it was covered in tinfoil. It's like, you guys are going to have a wonderful time today.
What an absolute legend. If you don't have a paella pan, that's okay, right? You can just use a big frying pan. You want it to be about that deep, maybe about 4 centimeters deep, and quite big. Now what you'll see here is we've made a kind of stock. We've added some stock, we've got some nice spices in there, it's well salted water, and then we've added a heap of vegetables, as well as that saffron, which has given the water that lovely color. And now what we'll do is we'll add this paella rice. We're gonna try and get it all over, and you don't want to stir. This is a kind of weird thing, right? This is quite weird. It's a dish that you do not stir. You want that rice to just gently soak up all of that water and stay in place.
I like the uniformity of that.
The precision.
Yeah, I like the way that it's kind of, there's a lot of thought goes into it, and it's constructed in such a way that just makes it look really symmetrical and beautiful, and you just know, because of the level of thought and process and passion that's gone into it, it's going to be delicious.
Absolutely. And for me, the final piece of this is you absolutely have to squeeze over the lemon. I always need extra lemon when I'm eating paella, because I love that acidity, brings everything together.
How do you say lemon in Spanish?
Limón.
Limón.
Super easy. It's muy fácil. That is a delicious dish. My dad, Mark, and his paella. And honestly, it's a labour of love, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, man, paella is so good. And also, Victoria sponge is really good. And the reason why it's so good is because it's kind of like a British tea time classic. You need a mug of tea, you need like a big slice of it, and you need to just go yum.
Of course, it's normally not vegan, as with most cakes, but we have created our own Boshy version. This is completely plant-based, and it's completely delicious.
And now, obviously, dry mix in one bowl, wet mix in the other. And the reason for that is because it's just a good way to make sure that all the individual elements of all of the dish are well combined. So when you combine the dry and the wet together, they come together perfectly.
Well, that's the thing about baking, isn't it? That you want to be quite precise and follow the recipe exactly. And that is an interesting part of this recipe, which we actually put 3 tablespoons of vanilla extract into this cake. So some people thought that was a mistake in our book. This is a very vanilla-y cake. So please feel free to go in with the vanilla extract.
Got to get all that flavour in there. And also, look at that, you fold it round and again and again and again until you've reached that perfect equilibrium of just like lovely unctuousness and the sort of batter that will just fall off the spoon but slowly.
Silky smooth, that is. That's
So
a beautiful thing, and this is like watching food porn in action.
It's a good shot.
You remember when we used to watch like food shows on TV? You never got shots like that.
No, you didn't. It's so true. And like here we are on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever on earth you are watching this, and you've just got good quality food here.
High grade food, yeah, from our kitchen. There you go. So here we are making a nice frosting that's going to go on top. We use some fat, we're using some icing sugar. Make sure you get like a vegan lard or a vegan butter that you like the taste of. A bit more vanilla, because that vanilla flavour is going to be running throughout this whole cake. This is essentially a vanilla cake. And then we're ready.
There we go. And if you notice there, we've chopped the lid of the cake off, because then that way, like you can get that sandwich effect, which you absolutely need. And for me, all day long, every time, it's raspberry jam.
Well, this is just like a giant scone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like a massive scone. And what we're going for here when we pop it on top is we want it to look a bit messy. We want it to ooze out of the sides a bit. It looks unctuous, it looks a bit naughty, almost a bit accidental.
And here we go, a little bit of icing sugar.
Tap.
And why did we bring some birthday candles? Because if there was a birthday, this is like the perfect birthday cake.
Well, presumably Queen Victoria's birthday.
Yeah. Is that, do you reckon that's the thing? Probably.
I reckon that'll be the history, yeah. And obviously we've popped some raspberries on top because it just makes it look a bit posh, maybe a bit more icing sugar on top.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing. Sorry.
That is a really nice thing. And listen, if you're a fan of cake, which you probably are, because, you know, who isn't a fan of cake? You're probably going to look at that and go, do you know what, lads? I think you might have nailed that.
Yeah, this is delicious. It's soft, it's light, it's fluffy, velvety, moist.
It's got a nice tang to it because of the raspberries.
And now we're going straight to America. We're gonna have a Texan barbecue pizza.
Texas barbecue pizza used to be my fave that we'd order in like on a Friday night when you were sat there playing the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, because that was, that was the pizza they would send you from, the famous pizza joint. Can we say their name? Begins with a D, ends with ominous.
Yeah. It's an ominous place to buy whatever.
But of course, it's normally got shredded chicken on there. You'll have some kind of barbecue sauce all over the base. But we've made ours completely plant-based.
Yeah, and listen, this is a really cool thing here. What we're doing is we're using wholemeal flour to make a slightly healthier dough.
Absolutely, it's going to be a lower GI dough. So you can at least pretend that you're doing some good for your body when you're eating this pizza.
I want pizza.
You will have pizza.
I want pizza now.
Yeah, we'll make this in a minute. Yeah, you see what I mean? We're watching this, we already made it, but we need to make it again.
It really is amazing.
Oh, that was a nice transition.
It's a good transition.
Yeah.
Oiled bowls, oiled clings, leave it in place for an hour, and look what happens.
Did you just say oiled clings? I'm just checking.
Oiled clings.
Oiled clings, is that now a thing?
It's an oiled cling now.
The oiled cling thing.
Oiled cling thing.
Oiled cling thing is now a thing.
And look at this. This is, if you've never made pizza dough, if you've never made bread, if you've never worked with springy dough, please do yourself a favour and just get on that hype because it's so fun.
It's great fun, and it just makes you feel like you're connected to 1,000 years of human history.
Yeah, really.
We've been baking bread for decades.
That dough looks
decades?
quite nice.
Millennia.
Yeah.
Eons, shall we say. Now this is going to be the second proof, and this is a really important part, which is where you shape the dough and you make it in the shape it's going to be finally, and you let it rest again. So it's a really important part.
And here we crack on with a little bit of topping.
Now this is a really cool one here because this is going to be a healthier version of like a barbecue sauce, and we're going to use that to coat that tofu and coat those mushrooms and give them that lovely barbecue flavour.
Shiitake mushrooms are great because the texture just is actually quite meaty.
Yeah.
And smoked tofu is like a revelation.
Yeah, absolutely, because smoked tofu gives you that bacony flavour, but you're not having to use the bacon.
And look at this, you can just roll that out, or if you didn't want to roll it out with a rolling pin, you could push it out so it looks a little bit more rustic.
It's more authentic in it to push it.
Exactly, and then barbecue sauce being
Well, that's the thing with this Texas barbecue pizza is you omit the tomato from the base and you go with that barbecue sauce.
And green pepper, I think, is really traditional because, do you know what, green pepper, it reminds me of this kind of Texas barbecue sauce stuff because you wouldn't expect red there. I don't know why, green just works.
Yeah, Texas Pete would be proud proud of this pizza. This is definitely one that is a bit of a showstopper. It's a little bit out there, and sweet corn is going to offend any Italians that are watching this.
And one thing that you definitely need if you're going to make a Texas barbecue pizza is whip yourself up a little bit of vegan garlic and herb mayonnaise.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, man, doesn't it?
I used to love that from that same pizza joint, but they're not vegan anymore, so I can't eat that.
But like they'll get with the program.
What are they doing, man? They need to get with the hype.
Come on.
But it doesn't matter because we're going to serve vegan pizzas to everybody anyway.
Henry's Dad's Paella, Victoria Sponge, and the Texas barbecue pizza. I mean, really, what else would you want from a video?
What else could you want? We hope you've loved these recipes. We hope you've loved this video. Everything on here is free for you. You can find the recipe on our website if you want it. And we will see you next time.
If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe because recipes like this come all the time.
Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. See you later.
Bye.
Peace.